Yeah, we in them streets again. Let's get it. Welcome to the first episode of In Them Streets, where we do real work on real service calls the easy does it way. Today we'll be repairing a meter base that has a burnt leg. That means one side of the meter base is burnt up. Then also the LB at the bottom has been partially ripped off. We're going to repair that as well. So let's get it. First, what we want to do is we're going to check some voltage out. We're going to try to determine which one of those legs are up at the top so that I can cut it and hopefully kill the power to one side of the meter. Okay, so I'm testing there. It looks like we're good to go. I cut the right one. Those static testers, they're no good sometimes. Sometimes there's bleed over where you can't really tell because, again, it's a static tester. It's not an actual voltage tester. Oh yeah, here's a good idea. Let's get a meter. Then I'll go ahead to proceed to taking off the one block very carefully. When you're swapping out a block like this, you always want to go with a meter that's exactly the same as the one before, or something very, very, very similar. You don't want any kind of differences in levels. You don't want any differences in height. That way the meter sits correctly inside and doesn't cause any more issues. Now that we're working with a clean slate again, we can begin to install the new piece. It's very tricky. You got to be very careful, obviously, because the one side is hot on top. So it's crucial to get this first screw in, but after that, it should be smooth sailing. Hey, kitty. Looks like I've got me a little bit of an audience. There's just two screws on the inside there. They're usually Phillips head. They bolt right to the back of the box. Want to make sure they're real tight. First, we'll go ahead and attach the top line. The top line was undamaged. I'm getting willy-nilly with that screwdriver. The top side was undamaged. So we'll just make sure it's cleaned up. Typically, I want to cut it in just a little bit just to make sure it's fresh. Cut off the old place where it was bolted down or pressed down to the block. Then we'll go ahead and get that one tightened up. I don't recommend people do this on their own unless you're an experienced electrician. I've worked with and been certified for over 10 years in medium voltage. So this is kind of like second nature to me. Here, we'll go ahead and cut that wire out. And we'll splice it in this LB because it's burnt up pretty bad. The wire was burnt up probably about 9 inches. And it's just not going to be recoverable because the panel is right on the other side of that LB. so there's not much to pull, and the breaker's on the top. So we'll just get a nice new piece of wire, number 2 gauge. Here I'm just prepping the wire ahead of time. It's coming out the LB, and we'll go ahead and clean it up, strip it back, and get it ready for a connector. As you can see, this one looks like I recycled this one from another service probably that we had to take down. Maybe it was a 200 amp service, and I usually save that wire and I don't scrap it. I just go ahead and use it for things like this to reinstall, because we'll make more money off of it. Here I'm putting the connector on ahead of time. I like to do as much as I can without being bending down or being in an awkward position. If anybody wants to donate a crimper, go ahead, message me in my inbox. I've still got these Lyman standard issue. They work, so no big deal. Now, I typically don't put any tape on the crimps, but I put tape on this crimp because I didn't want it to move around. I wanted to make sure that once I get down there, I know exactly where it's at and where it should be at, because sometimes it has a tendency to move around once you get ready to start crimping it, and then you may not get as much wire in the crimp as you need. And once it's all crimped up, what I'm going to do is kind of clean it up so that it doesn't get stuck. And that side, that small, I think that's 1.25 inch conduit. And I'm just going to take my chances and feeding it up. Sometimes it works, sometimes you have to get a little fish tape. And there it is. Now this is the tricky part. You need to be in 2 places at one time. So I usually use my boot. I'll keep a loop on it, and then I'll keep some pressure on it below, and voila, nice and tight, perfect fit. Set the connector to the side. Plenty of room in the LB, so we don't have any issues there. Again, I do not recommend anybody do meter work like this if you're not an experienced electrician. And typically I would go ahead and cut both of them, both the lines at the top. But hey, saving the connector today. And the bottom side of the meter is dead. So the top side was the risky part, and then the bottom side is going to be dead. So I can touch whatever I want. And that's where all the work was being performed anyways. Now all we have to do is go ahead and tighten that lug down, and the meter part will be finished. Just double check and tighten this. Oh, look at that. It's a little bit of a couple turns on that one. Perhaps it would have been the next part getting corrupted like the other. Alright, so all we have to do now is go back up and connect this connector back to the service line. I am using a fiberglass ladder, that way I'm not being grounded. Also, there is no siding, it's not aluminum or anything like that, so there's no danger in that. So as long as I just leave that there, I always do the service line part last as well. That way I'm not handling it too much. I always check the connector to make sure it crimped correctly. Pull on it a little bit. Now we start on the service side of things. I double checked that other connector because it looked like it was going bad, but turns out it's just a different type of connector, a little bit cheaper brand, so I'll leave it be. Alright, and we're good and tight. Yes, sir. Let's go. Alright, back to the meter. We'll check voltage. Everything's looking good. No voltage on the bottom, magically. And then we'll also be able to tell that the voltage is correct after we put this meter in. It should read 240. Make sure we didn't leave any bits and pieces in behind. You can see that port got singed a little bit. We'll report that to the power company. Let them know that they may need to replace that meter. As far as this LB goes, we're just gonna try to bend this cover back. It is missing its gasket. We don't have the gasket for this particular LB. The good thing is that there's an awning above us, hangover, so it shouldn't be getting too much water. And it doesn't seem wet, and it's just rained just recently too. So if there was water inside, I'd be concerned about it. Couple new screws. And it says closed 240. So we're looking good. We'll check the voltage on the panel on the inside. But it looks like our work out here is done. We'll go ahead and put that cover back on the meter base. And yeah, that's all she wrote. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all our new content coming out. We'll have a lot more videos like this. So if you like it, and I'll see you in the next video.